Hey guys, hope you've been well. My name's Yahya, founder and creator of Record Breaker. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how my clients regularly hit 30 to 50K months without crazy hustle or spammy tricks using the Bold Brand Blueprint and how you can too. I built 5 businesses to 8, 7, and 6 figures. Some of them are brands you might recognize, such as the Ritz-Carlton, Visa, Energizer, Viagra, Four Seasons. I've worked on a lot of products, everything and anything from a pure consumer goods point of view, all the way to pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals and surgical instruments and technology for vehicle tracking. And I discovered something very surprising. The same principles that we use to build billion-dollar brands can be used to build your business to 30 to 50K in only 2 to 4 hours a day. But before we get into that, let's talk about who this is not for. So, this is not for you if you're a beginner and you're still trying to figure out what your skill is that you're going to monetize. This is definitely not for you if you rely on motivation instead of discipline. This is not for you if you're looking for some kind of get-rich-quick scheme. This is most definitely not for you if you're one of those people who thinks that all you need to do is say the right word or the magic funnel or the magic script and boom, you're going to get rich. This is most definitely not for you if you're the sort of person who looks for the cheapest solution to the most expensive problems and expects it to work. And finally, this is definitely not for you if you are someone who does not invest in themselves, but somehow expects other people to invest their hard-earned money with you. With all due respect and much love to you, I'm not your guy. You're welcome to stick around, but this is probably not going to be very helpful for you. Now let's talk about who this is for. This is specifically for you if you have proven results and your methods work, if you're someone with high self-agency, to the extent that you feel like you are your industry's best kept secret, and the only thing between you and the success you want is amplifying and blowing up your message to get you more clients. This is definitely for you if you treat business as both a science as well as an art, and you understand that it's strategy as well as energetics that go hand in hand towards achieving success. And most importantly, this is for you if you're looking to be guided instead of looking to be saved. And so with that said, let me first share with you why I understand your situation so well. So, while most gurus talk about their globe-trotting lifestyle, their fancy cars, their watches, I was that guy 10 years ago. I was living what seemed like the corporate dream. I led multinational teams, I launched major brands, and in one of my roles at Pfizer, I grew the business to 10 million annually with a 45% cumulative average growth rate, or CAGR. But I was paying a heavy price that only my family knew about. And here's the thing about me. I believe in being a present father. I had a young family, I had children who were growing up, and the stress and the hard work that I was putting into growing these businesses and these companies was causing me to pay a very heavy price privately. And so I specifically remember at one point in time, I was at Sharm el-Sheikh, which is a holiday resort off the coast of Egypt. And it was my daughter's birthday on the day I had to return. I remember crossing 3 countries from Sharm to Egypt, from Egypt to Dubai back home. And I couldn't even get her a present. So I had to stop at a Starbucks to get her favorite chocolate 3-layer cake. And so the following weekend at a picnic, my daughter told me that, you know, Dad, I barely get to see you now. And that kind of hit hard. I did not want my children growing up without a present father. I didn't want them growing up with money, but having no clue of who I am or having a relationship with me. At the same time, I'd be traveling the world and sending pictures of whatever medicines I could find to my wife because I was developing massive psoriasis. The stress and anxiety was causing massive flaking. I remember walking into a meeting with my hands and all my fingertips had bandages around them because the scaling was so bad that my fingers were bleeding. My cell phone couldn't recognize my thumbprint. People in the meeting were like, "Guy, are you okay? Are you all right?" This was an autoimmune disease that was coming as a result of the intense, crazy amount of pressure I was under. So while I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur, I was almost thrust into entrepreneurship purely by luck. And so the way this happened was I was growing businesses and I was growing companies. And once you've done this enough, you start to wonder, hey, I'm making these companies so much money. What if I decided to do it for myself and kept a bigger portion of the profits? And so I decided to do my own thing. And in July, August 2019, I started my trade-based AI-enabled robotics company and my online coaching business, making the classic standard mistake of being in two niches at the same time, mindset and fitness, as is the case with so many of us. But I was quick to learn, and moving on, in July 2020, I launched Free Your Mind, my first webinar where I got my clients. And in early 2021, I hired a coach and I found myself doing all the typical things that people were doing, posting in groves, getting a bunch of people to like and comment on my stuff, getting leads, selling to leads, you know the drill. And this was a season for massive growth. I was full hustle more hard. I was doing trainings weekly. I was getting lots of results and lots of testimonials, and everything was on the up and up. But in this season of my life, I learned that in spite of my best efforts, growth at best was inconsistent, meaning it was not predictable. I didn't know how much money I was going to make next month, and I had to go out and start hunting for people and leads to close. I didn't particularly like that. Now, when I did get the leads, I found myself spending a lot of time convincing these people to buy from me. Imagine I was doing mindset at the time, and I had to convince people to invest in their own mental health. This wasn't me. I've invested in myself proactively, never reactively, but I had to do it with other people. And so this was very weird and very surprising and very distasteful. And finally, I found myself going back to the fear-based existence of hustling hard and going crazy. And the only badge of honor I had was now I was running my own business. But at the end of the day, I was probably working harder for myself than I'd work for any other company. And so on a holiday in 2021, I realized something critical and foundational. And that was that all the advice that I was being given, 100 DMs a day, endless content, being on all platforms, running weekly challenges, and using high pressure tactics to close, all the coaches had gotten it backwards. Because here's what I knew from my corporate experience: the world's biggest brands do not chase customers. They attract them from strategic positioning and authentic messaging. And so this realization made me go back to the drawing board and develop the bold brand blueprint that I then applied from 2022 to 2024. And guess what? My prospects did not care whether I had case studies or not. They did not care about even the details of my program. So you know how people are told to develop super fancy offers that people feel stupid saying no? I had to do none of that. People were pre-sold and people were ready to buy. And when I checked, they were pre-sold on one thing. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you about, which is the bold brand blueprint, a system specifically designed for experienced professionals who want to scale their impact without sacrificing their integrity or, quite frankly, their sanity. So now let me walk you through the elements and the core components of the bold brand blueprint. Let's start with the perfect prospect path. This is how we get hyper qualified leads that are ready to buy in just 30 minutes a day. So one of the things that happened in early 2021 is I got my first hate DM where someone was like, "You're trying to connect with me, you're trying to sell to me, blah, 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 blah." And as always, I'd been taught to try and convince them to buy from me. And so the fundamental question that I had to ask myself was, do I want to be spending 2 hours convincing people to buy from me in the DMs, or is there a better way? And that's what led me to discard and let go of friend farming and spray and pray and 100 DM methods, and instead develop the perfect prospect path. Let me go deeper into what this means. Now, in that season, I took a deeper look at my DMs and I realized it's not really a DM problem. It's a lead quality problem, because at the end of the day, we're all taught that we're playing a touch point game, and the higher the number of touch points, the sooner the person's going to buy from us. But the question to ask myself was, am I playing the right touch point game? The big problem right now is everyone is trying really hard to stand out. So a fitness coach is going to have the amazing body. The men's coach is going to have the amazing beard. The women's business coach is going to be a bit of a fashionista. Of course, I'm generalizing, but you get the picture. There's very unique looks to everyone. The problem with that is when you zoom out, they all look the same. And so no one really stands out. And because no one really stands out, they have to work really hard in the DMs with fancy offers and cool tricks to convince people to buy from them, to convince people that they're different. And the way that's linked to touch points is they're reaching to the average person that needs 50 to 150 touch points, which is tons and tons of DMs, getting them to attend your thing, getting them to do whatever you need them to do to warm up to you. But the perfect prospect only needs 15 to 25 touch points. And if you want to think of the perfect prospect, think of a person who is predisposed to buy from you, not because of what you sell, but because of what you sell and who you are. So someone who is a version of you, meaning they match your values, they match your worldview, they match your philosophies, they're just waiting for you to reach out and be like, hey, would you like to work with me? And I'm sure you've probably seen people like that. So the challenge then becomes, how do you find more and eventually only the perfect prospects? And this is how we do it. So the conventional approach is 50 DMs a day. We don't do any of that. We do 10 DMs if anything. And the DMs are pretty simple. They just say hi. So no more clever offers. You would have been taught to play the platform algorithm, meaning leave a like, engage with people again and again so that they pay attention to you. We work the human algorithm. We use psychology. The conventional method is to push people into buying, guilt-tripping them, shaming them, ridiculing them, making something so mouth-watering that they can't resist it. We instead use pull and attraction marketing. The conventional method is to run challenges and hope that some people buy from you. We just get direct inquiries. And I'm going to share with you what that looks like. And so this is why I was having inconsistent months, because I was hoping I'd do well the next day. But with the perfect prospect in place, you know they're going to buy from you. It's just a matter of time. Traditionally, you're taught to use labels. We don't do that. We use values to find people. Traditionally, you use demographics, meaning gender, country they live in. We use psychographics, which is more attitudinal in place. Traditionally, we've been taught to use emojis for working the algo. We do none of that. We use an NLP-based sequence that is designed to connect with the person at a human level. And we do not try to convert people. We do not try to convince people. That's just not who I am. Instead, we've got pre-converted people, and they turn out to be the best clients. And so, for example, what my DMs look like is people reaching out to me saying, let's connect, watch some of your content, getting the call from intuition to work with you, feel pretty aligned, you got my attention, interested in chatting with you about what it looks like to work with you. This happens when your prospects have accepted you as their guide, your prospects resonate with your philosophy and your worldview and your approach. Your prospects trust you on a human level. So you don't need to convince them. And that's why my DMs look pretty simple. Even the bad ones. This is a fun, interesting DM where one of my team members was being very pushy, and the person told him, don't sell me, I will block you. And then a couple of months later, the person reaches out to me, says, I wanted to know if you'd be up to doing a live about the coaching industry and the marketing practices, etc., because we see eye to eye. And as you can see, I didn't really do anything in the DMs, like nothing. Just this is the power of when you have the perfect prospect in your pipeline. You don't need to jump through hoops. You don't need any convincing. You don't need to keep saying hi to them. You don't need to keep going to their profile and hitting the like button. You don't need to do that. It makes life easy. Now, you might be wondering, yeah, well, maybe it's just you. You might be wondering, yeah, does this work for other people? Of course it does. Niels, who's a client of mine, started with me when he was a dating coach, and he was moving to working with entrepreneurs because that's what he was called to doing. And when he deployed the perfect prospect path, he immediately started only speaking to people that resonated with him, and he very quickly crossed $20,000 in a month, working, I think, 2 hours a day. Ideal prospects turning into ideal clients, having amazing, fantastic results with him. Now, perfect prospects needs magnetic marketing. Magnetic marketing is how we create content that converts directly to sales. So all the DMs I showed you, I'm going to show you why those people are responding to me the way they are. So in 2021, I got my first hate comment. This is almost a rite of passage in the coaching and consulting industry. You get someone who hates on you and tells you, hey, you should be doing this for free. How dare you charge money? So this really made me think. I was like, dude, I've always been proactive. I'm a hard worker. I don't expect people to work with me for free. I've never looked for handouts. Why on earth are people coming to me and expecting handouts? And so I realized that people were confusing me, and I call this Mother Teresa syndrome. And it was me. It wasn't them. What the big realization for me was that these people were super sold on my offer. Obviously, 20 years in marketing and sales, I know how to create offers. And so I nailed the offer, but for some reason, I've forgotten to tell them of who I was, what my brand was. And so I realized that a lot of my marketing was only offer, offer, offer. It said nothing about the person behind the offer. And I was coming from a very preachy and teachy, oh, let me save you, let me help you, sort of point of view, not realizing that I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who always takes charge of his life. So why am I speaking to people who are not interested in taking charge of their life? And this was a a bit of a bitter realization for me, but thank God I realized this, because the result I was getting was fans that loved me but didn't want to invest in themselves, and something had to change. And then one day I was annoyed and I was mad and I blew up, and magnetic marketing was born. Let me explain to you how it works. So we all know the buyer journey and we all know the stage of business they're at, meaning you have someone who's completely problem unaware, meaning they don't know they have a problem, and solution unaware. From that, they move to problem aware, solution unaware, meaning they know they have a problem, but they don't know there's a solution out there. Then they move to problem aware and solution aware, meaning they know they have a problem, they know there's a solution, and finally, we move to someone who's ready to buy. So the way we do this is we only speak to people who are solution aware and solution seeking. Then we only speak to a certain level of maturity, meaning we do not need to convince people who are not yet ready to be convinced. And finally, we look at the person's evolution, meaning in their buyer journey, how much have they evolved, what other solutions have they tried, and how can we make life easy for them? And a good example of this is, if I were to create a training that says build an audience, I would get lots of people who don't have audiences. Instead, if I were to do a training that says how to monetize an audience, I'm now speaking to people who've built an audience and are only looking to monetize. And so a lot of qualifiers are used in marketing to make sure that you don't speak to the wrong person. Now, the way this works is pretty simple. Someone sees a YouTube video, I talk about Frank and Amanda, they reach out to me and they're like, I think I need your help. I'm Amanda or Frank. Similarly, someone sees a story which has a guy bit slapping kids. They're like, the bit slap, I think that's my problem. Bookings went down. I used to be 8 a week and now they're down to 4. So like you can see, people will openly, straight up tell me what the problem is and why they need my help. Similarly, I put up a post, someone reads the post and says, hey man, did you get an opportunity to read what I sent you? I put up a reel, someone watches that and says, watched it, saw your content, getting the call from intuition, need your support, feel aligned with your approach, ready to work with you, and they're telling me that I've been going round and round circles and this is my problem. And so the reason I'm showing you this is to show you how it basically works, meaning content to DM to booking a call. And the trick here is someone beautifully put it on one of my YouTube videos, which is if you can clearly articulate your customer's problem better than they can, they will feel like you have the solution. And what it entails actually is making the right person feel exactly and perfectly seen, heard, and understood at a very deep level. So now you might be thinking, well, yeah, you've done marketing and sales for 20 years. This might come naturally to you. Does it work for other people? Of course it does. My client Luke, who's big on YouTube, using the exact same magnetic marketing approach, hit $30,000 per month in sales. And all he does is make YouTube videos that direct people to booking a call, and he closes them. Now, one of the critical things in this is the millionaire mindset, because you cannot be the person you want to be if you have a weird fear or a confirmation bias or some sort of self-sabotage. So this, simply put, is how we rewire your brain for 7-figure success in 23 minutes a day. Let me take you back to 2018, where I was growing a business to $1 million in 1 year. And so I was waking up to putting out fires in the emails. The stress of deadlines was insane. Restarted 2 packs of cigarettes a day, right? Things were bad. I was under a lot of stress. And I tried affirmations. I tried vision boarding. I tried having breakthrough aha moments and sticking to them. I tried reading a lot of books and tons of morning routine. Nothing worked until I stumbled upon Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I was so desperate that I did the exercise and the meditation in that, which was 74 minutes. I did it every day for 3 months. And this changed my life. It shifted my identity into being the person who then deserved to run the business that I was running. And so being a natural optimizer, I took what I'd learned from there and I used my understanding of mindset, my understanding of subconscious reprogramming, my understanding of binaural beats, hypnosis, and I created my own version of this, which in the beginning took 57 minutes. And since then, being an optimizer, I've been optimizing and shortening it over the years again and again until it is now 23 minutes long and completely subconsciously reprograms a person. This has had more than 100 people go through it. There's tons and tons of people who've gone through it in my Mindset program. The results speak for themselves. What it does basically is it circumvents the need to consciously keep correcting oneself. And instead, it does that on a subconscious level. Most people try to consciously change themselves. Most people will try to have aha moments and they will try to force themselves to do something, face a lot of friction, they're going to have a lot of resistance. It's needless, unnecessary, and waste time. The fastest way to do something is to program it into your subconscious mind. It removes all resistance and you become that person. A great example of this are Adam and Jay, who started with me when they were at $15,000 a month. And then obviously having scaling problems and having employee problems and having client problems, all the problems that come with scaling a business. And quite frankly, we had all the business and strategy in place, but it took a certain level of person to execute that to get them to 150K months. And this is where subconscious reprogramming completely changes the game. So we've talked about the perfect prospect who's ready, willing, and wanting to buy from you. We've talked about magnetic marketing, which is music to their ears. We've talked about the millionaire mindset, meaning who you need to be to execute on this. Now, how do we blow it out of proportion? Let's talk about the funnel that makes all of this possible and how we scale people to that level. So that's the simple scaling system, which is how we amplify content so prospects reach out and work with us. Now, the way this looks to anybody, and you might have seen my funnel and you see it this way, which is, well, he's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, he's on YouTube, and different people approach me from different places. However, it's actually a lot simpler. It is getting attention, holding attention, and converting attention. And the way this looks is I teach how to get attention, which is short form, how to hold attention, which is long form, can be written, can be video, and how to convert attention. It's as simple as that. And it doesn't need all the platforms that I'm on. My main funnel is Facebook short form to Facebook long form to DM. Now, some people do find me on Instagram. Some people love binging my YouTube. But the essence here is short to get attention, long to hold attention, and then convert through any sort of messaging in your funnel. And so what we're looking for are emotive keywords from people. And it starts with, you do a great job, love the energy, wow, light bulb, etc., etc. That then moves to great stuff, got a nice page of notes, I have to take notes, this is really useful, one of the most profound, and eventually you go down to, I'm interested to learn more, want to book a call, do you have PayPal that I could transfer money? It is important to figure this out, I need your help. That is how you know that you've converted a prospect using this methodology. And so a practical example of looking at this is the reels and the short form get the attention. And then the long form, whether it's YouTube, whether it's people browsing through my Facebook posts, converts attention. And that's it. Now you must be wondering, yeah, this is you. Does it work for me? And so let's talk about Hannah, who made $23,000 in one day using only Facebook. Hannah makes short form on Facebook, she makes long form on Facebook, and she converts using only Facebook. Similarly, we talked about Luke. Luke did 22K cash collected in just 2 weeks. And all he does is short form on YouTube, long form on YouTube, and he converts. Another example of Facebook only is Nick, who hit 30K a month using Facebook short form to Facebook long form to converting. Another great example is Stefan, who's primarily on Instagram, and he made $52,500 in 6 weeks, selling a $7,500 offer to 7 clients one-on-one. And so it works across the board. If you are an expert and you know your thing, and you feel like your industry's best kept secret, this is going to amplify and blow your business up without you running around hustling and DMing people and doing all sorts of weird things that you've been asked or taught to do. And so if you would like to use your bold brand blueprint to hit $30,000 a month, find me on Facebook and DM me the word brand. I'd be happy to discuss this and see if we're a good fit to work together. I hope this gave you a perspective on how easy and different business can be to perhaps what you've been thought it needs to be. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Take care. Bye-bye.